Hello everybody, JGReactor here. Today I'm going to be talking about the Super Mario movie. I just went to see this yesterday. Yes, I saw a month after everybody else, and I was busy, okay? So I only went to see it yesterday, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on it. So, yeah, quickly getting this out of the way, there are going to be spoilers in this review, so skip to this timestamp if you haven't seen the movie, so you don't get any spoilers. You can just hear my final thoughts. But if you have seen the movie, I recommend sticking around to hear my thoughts. So, yeah, I'm just going to hop right into this. So, yeah, we're just gonna talk about this. All right, done building that up. Let's just talk about it. So, some things I have to say. I found this movie to actually be very, very entertaining. I will say it is quite generic to every other Illumination movie ever. Like, it definitely falls into that generic, mediocre category where it didn't really always feel super entertaining. I did enjoy it. In fact, I had a great time with it. However, it didn't really capture me as much as movies like Detective Pikachu or Sonic the Hedgehog 2 did, where those movies kept me invested. I was interested in what was going to happen to these characters. I was very curious about how things were going to play out. With Mario, I just was like, oh, he's here, and now he's here, and now he's here. Like, it's a very fast-paced movie, and it makes it a bit difficult to kind of like get into it, because the minute you get used to one place, the next is just so weird. So, going over like a basic little story summary to kind of explain this movie, even though you've all seen it. You know, Mario and Luigi live in Brooklyn, and the movie starts with showing off after Bowser gets the star. Then after that, we start following Mario and Luigi with their commercial. And I'll be honest, even though the movie made fun of the accent in that whole sequence, I think that was the best Mario voice in the movie, because I'm gonna say it now, I thought after watching the movie, I would be used to Chris Pratt's voice as Mario, because I thought, oh yeah, I'll just watch this and I'll get used to it. I never got used to it. Honestly, he has got to be the weakest voice in this film, because every single time he talked, I was taken a little bit out of it. Not as badly as something else that I'm going to mention later in this review, but in the beginning, or not even just in the beginning, almost all this movie, whenever Chris Pratt talks as Mario, I couldn't hear Mario. I only heard Chris Pratt. Even though he was trying to put on a little bit of an accent, it feels like he started an accent, but then just gave up and just immediately just started talking normally again. It just, as I thought would happen, it really kind of brought me out of it. But thankfully, I was right about one thing that I thought would happen. The other actors definitely improved it a lot. I think a lot of the other voice actors in this did a great job. From Keegan-Michael Key as Toad to Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, as well as Jack Black as Bowser, they are all super good in the roles. Even though I didn't love every single thing from Jack Black in this movie, he was still one of the best characters in this movie. And overall, I just think that Chris Pratt's whole approach to the whole movie was definitely the weakest link. I definitely have to go see it again to maybe get used to it, but honestly, I really didn't like his voice in this movie at all. Even Charlie Day did a much better job as Luigi, even though I'm pretty sure he also used his original voice. It's just, I don't get the casting behind Chris Pratt. He's not a bad actor. I think he's great in a lot of stuff. I really liked him in Guardians. I liked him as Emmett in the Lego Movie. I really enjoy a lot of his different roles. I even liked him in that movie Onward. But this wasn't it. This was not a role made for him. Not at all. It definitely wasn't. I found it to be one of the weakest voice roles I've ever heard him in. And there are several points in the movie where I'm just like, really? That's the take you went with for this? But it's not bad. Not every part of it is bad. It's just most of it I really wasn't vibing much with. But that's just my opinion. I think Chris Pratt has a lot of roles he's good at, but this was not really one of them. But, So, I want to talk about a few positive things I would like to talk about this movie. I really enjoyed the animation. The animation, even though I'm not really one for animation that much, there are times where I could appreciate it, like with Spider-Verse, which I'm really excited for the second one. But there are times where I could really appreciate it, and I really love the animation in this movie. Like, it's just visually nice to look at. Seeing the Mushroom Kingdom and all that, one of my first thoughts when I saw it was, I'd want to go there. I want to visit the Mushroom Kingdom for the sake of, I just want to explore. I want to check it out. Like my inner adventurer, even though I don't know if there is an inner adventurer in me, wanted to go see that world. I would have loved to visit that place, just explore. Because the world and everything in it is so interesting, especially with how they incorporate the stuff from the games into the movie. They managed to make it so that way everything that Mario gets and does in the games, like, blends perfectly in with everything else, and it's really well made, and I really like that. Actually, going back to the characters, instead of like the voice actors, there's actually one character I want to talk about in particular, moving past the Mushroom Kingdom stuff for now, and that is Princess Peach. Princess Peach, when I saw her in the trailers, when I saw how she'd be playing more of like a girl boss type character, I was just like, oh great, another one of these, because we see so many of them in movies nowadays. It's honestly kind of ridiculous. But honestly, I actually really enjoyed her in this film. I thought the whole chemistry she kind of had with Mario was very entertaining, and definitely the way they handled her was much better than I thought it would be. I thought she was just gonna be like the one who's like I could do everything, I'm powerful, and it turns out no, she's just that good because she lived there her whole life. She actually knows what she's doing, whereas Mario, who's kind of sucking, hasn't been there his whole life. He doesn't know everything, but she does because she lived there. And I think the way that she's handled in this movie is one of the best times I've ever seen, like the girl boss-esque, like that type of character. It's one of the best ways I've seen it handled in recent times, and I really liked it. I thought she was much better than I thought she would be. I thought she was going to be really annoying, but she turned out to be quite a fun time, along with the rest of the cast. She had a few jokes in there that were really funny. Oh yeah, going on to the next segment, the jokes. Some of them are funny, some of them are not. This is Illumination, and there's one thing they're good at, that's constantly throwing jokes at you, with at least 2 of them landing every, like, 20 minutes. But the jokes in this, for the most part, are fairly decent. I did get a good chuckle out of most of them, not all of them. I think it's one of the biggest flaws with Illumination, where they can't make, like, full-on great comedy that makes you want to laugh out loud like crazy. The most laughs they ever get is usually the chuckle or a light ha, but that was all I really got from this. Although the one where I can think of that I did kind of laugh a lot at was probably, as many people know, the Peaches song. Unlike a lot of other people, I had never watched the clip to the Peaches song. I was waiting to go see it in the movie theater, and honestly I think it was worth the wait because it was absolutely hilarious. It was such a good scene, and I can understand why people like it. It was very funny, and I really enjoyed myself when watching that segment. And yeah, going back into like some negative points, there are a few things I do have that I would like to complain about, and one of those is the lack of real development for Mario and everybody. Like, when I saw the trailers for this movie, I had a good idea what the plot would be in my head, but the plot in this movie isn't really there. Not only is, I'm sure many people have said, the movie incredibly fast-paced, like, it just zips by, they just go through everything, which isn't a bad thing, but can feel a bit, like, weird at times. This is they zip through everything. There can't really be a moment for characters to really reflect. Like, I remember how Donkey Kong and Mario were like vibing, and they were just not vibing, but like they were talking to one another, being like, oh yeah, at least your dad doesn't think he's your disappointment. Oh yeah, but my dad does think I'm a disappointment. Oh well, your dad's right. It's just like, I feel like those moments are meant to be moments where the characters, I imagine what was going to happen was Mario's going to try to fight Bowser, fail, and question things as he tries to figure out how to go through with everything since he's not a hero, but no, he focuses on saving his brother, and that's all he really has the mindset of, which isn't a bad thing, but I really wish he had an actual, like, character growth moment where he actually realized, he isn't just a plumber who can jump really high and use power-ups. He's actually some person, but they don't really try to go through with that. It is a kids movie, but at the same time, there can be lessons in kids movies. I mean, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a good example of that, but I wish that Mario had a bit more of a, like, character development moment in this movie instead of just kind of the he never gives up guy. But you know, you don't always have to have like character growth or something, but it's just how I feel. I definitely feel like Mario should have had a bit more of a development stage in this movie instead of just kind of doing whatever happens. But it was still entertaining watching him go through with things. Like, his fight against Donkey Kong was a lot of fun, especially the last battle with him and Luigi getting together and grabbing the, like, I think it's like the immortal star something. I don't know all the Mario lore, but like the star that makes you like impenetrable, you cannot be hurt, and the two of them just beating up Bowser was an absolute blast. I had a lot of fun with that scene, and overall the movie was a lot of fun, and I definitely found myself enjoying it a lot. Although I do wish there was more Luigi in this film. As someone who really likes Luigi, between him and Mario, I think Luigi is probably my favorite of the two brothers. The lack of him was definitely noticeable and a bit disappointing because I really like Luigi. And not seeing him in the spotlight is a bit sad because as I mentioned, I really like Luigi. But that's just how the cookie crumbled. That's just how things were. And yeah. So quickly going back for a moment, I would like to once again talk about like the fast pacing of this movie. Like, this movie goes by a little too fast. At the beginning, it's not too bad. It shows Mario and Luigi struggling with the plumber business they were trying to set up, only for them to get sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom. Things were fairly slow and going at a steady pace at that beginning, but then after they get to the Mushroom Kingdom, things just kind of like accelerate at a massive speed. Mario runs into the princess. She automatically is just like, all right, defeat this course, and I'll take you with me. And then it's just like everything's going from thing to thing to thing, and it just like it doesn't go anywhere but nonstop. Like it just continues and continues, and I both love and hate that at the same time. Like, I would like a moment to breathe and take it in. I would like to take a moment to recollect myself and get a better understanding of what's going on, but they're nonstop. And I get why. It's a kids movie. They want to make sure the kids are entertained and move on to the next thing, but it is a bit fast-paced. It isn't the worst, but definitely was hard to follow at times because of how quickly things were moving along. But yeah, I think one of my biggest complaints about this movie is the next thing I want to talk about, and that is the insertion, I think that's the right word, of random popular songs. Like when Mario's at his training segment, they suddenly start playing I Need a Hero, and then later on they do Take On Me when they're riding around like these carts and stuff like that, and I'm just like, why? Why are these here? They feel so out of place. They feel so random. And honestly, I really didn't like that about the movie. Those moments felt so random, so weird. I don't know why they're there, and I honestly didn't like them. They really took me out of the movie. They really, like, I don't hate those songs, don't get me wrong. I like the songs, but they really brought me out of the movie. Like, hearing Holding Out for a Hero when Mario's just jumping around, no, that's not the vibe I get with Mario. Mario is not a franchise I need a hero from. That's not the type of franchise that like Mario's not the type of franchise for that song. And there's just like all these random insertion of songs to the point that every single time they happened, they just felt so weird. Even like at the end when they start playing Mr. Blue Sky, even though that song actually does kind of work into the setup of what's going on in that scene, which is like as an alarm clock situation, even that felt a bit out of place. And honestly, I feel like that was definitely the weakest part of this film. Those random songs were, I mean, not random, but those popular songs being put in there were not good. I found them to be the biggest issue with this movie, as they don't fit. They have no reason to be there. They are only there for the sole reason of, hey, I know that song. And honestly, if they weren't there, I would have appreciated this movie a lot more. But yeah, they are definitely the weakest link. So yeah, we're at the conclusion of this review. And what are my final thoughts? I fairly enjoyed this movie. I have some complaints about it, but overall, it's a fun little time. I wouldn't put it above Detective Pikachu or Sonic 2, but I would put it above Sonic 1 in terms of enjoyment level because I really had a fun time with this movie, and it was a blast. Definitely enjoyable, and I hope to watch it again soon, sometime in the future, because honestly, I had a good time, and I would love to see it again. Even if it is mediocre in the same sense as a lot of Illumination movies, I'm very used to Illumination making very mediocre products, and this was kind of no exception. But overall, still had a very fun time, and if they make more of these, I'm still down for checking them out. So yeah, that's why I give the Mario movie a 7 out of 10. A very fun time, even though in the end it doesn't have anything special about it, it's still a fun time. So yeah, that's all I really have to say, so thank you all for watching. If you're new to the JGReactor channel, don't forget to subscribe. I was a new reaction face to the channel, and I will see you all around. Peace!